fun if I just oops, kept this in and then put the intro music.
Yeah.
We could do that.
Like a little bloopers.
Bloopers reel?
Outtakes.
Bloopers.
Outtakes, whatever it's called.
But there's no baby screaming in the background.
And the dogs aren't barking yet. And the train's not here.
And the train
hasn't gone by yet.
There's been one that's come through already.
All right.
So charming.
Let me do the thing.
Welcome to the PaynePoints Podcast. We tell the stories of small businesses, the people that run them, and the journey they are on. Our purpose is to gather a new perspective on starting, growing, maturing, and maintaining businesses of all sizes. So grab that cup of coffee, sit back, and join us as we start the conversation. Hey guys, it's Sarah Harbuck with Kristin Ellis and Megan Harbuck today. And good morning, guys, by the way.
Good morning.
This week we're just gonna sit and chat, which is what we do every week, really. But we got nobody to interview, just each other. And, we're kind of flying by the seat of our pants today.
We're winging it this morning.
It's January 4th, 2021.
Holidays are always kind of a weird time.
Yeah, it sort of gets you off into a different habit or a different pattern, and then you got to switch back to your normal pattern, and it's like this jolt.
It's almost like you're in this limbo where you don't really know what day it is.
You're really tired.
You've had
Saturdays
a great
feel
time.
like Sundays.
Yeah.
Sundays are like, what's happening? What day is this?
What is this?
Yeah. It's been a weird couple of weeks. A lot of things going on.
And I apologize for my voice today. I'm a little I have two little germ factories at home that like to share. Well, really, they just like to sneeze directly into your face.
That's what children do.
So.
Well, you got this sexy phlegm voice that Phoebe says, smelly cat. You're doing a real husky, lower tone. Good times. Germ factories. I like that. I'm going to have to remember that.
Hey, your children are no longer germ factories.
No, actually, no. And y'all were really never like that anyway. We were never.
Because the homeschooling helped.
Homeschoolers are really weird about germs and militant about sickness in a weird way and not in the way you would think.
Yeah.
So, we were always either at home or we were around other homeschoolers and you're sheltered from normal people.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you don't get the same
You don't
sicknesses.
have all of it.
My kids were never really sick.
Yeah.
I mean, they'd have the occasional sinus allergy stuff, but
mine wasn't, or Reed wasn't until he started going to Mother's Day. Started going to daycare.
Yeah, but that just builds their immunity.
Yeah.
They're going to have iron, strong, clad.
He went there the first 2 weeks, and then he was gone for a month and a half because he was so sick because he'd never been around.
They say that about new teachers. That first year of teaching, they are so ill because they catch all these things from kids.
But then they
never get sick again.
Yeah, never get sick. Yeah, my sister and her husband are both teachers, and they're never sick.
Yeah.
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 So I guess, we're just talking, so we can just kind of do whatever the heck that we want.
Yeah, isn't this what normal podcasts are? They just people sit around and just wax eloquent on nonsense.
Chit-chat a little bit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Since we are officially done with 2020, was there, I know, right?
And y'all all yelled Jumanji at midnight, right?
I was asleep.
I did the whole, it's an old Irish thing where at midnight, you open the front door,
Yes.
and then you open the back door to let the old year out and the new year in. And so you
sweep that nonsense out the door.
Get it out of here.
I do a similar thing where I leave my window open while I sleep to let the good stuff in. But we did a lot in 2020. What was y'all's, if you had to think of a favorite episode of the podcast that we did?
Oh, wow.
If you're listening to this and you've been on our podcast, no hard feelings to anybody, but we definitely have our favorites, I think. So who wants to go first?
I'm trying to think.
Should I go first?
Yeah.
Do you have one?
Yes.
No, of course you do.
Honestly, I think that if somebody were to ask for a normal episode of our podcast, right? Hey, where should I start? I always tell people they should listen to my grandpa's episode.
Really?
Rural Wastewater Systems with Bob Harbuck. That was a really, really good one. And then if I was to say I mean, obviously a normal episode of our podcast is also the interview that Mom and I did with Yoon Bae. And that one was fun for me because I think that was the first guest that I ever got on the podcast. But my ultimate favorite episode, just because it's with like two of my heroes, was the one we did with Shannon and Angelica back in December.
Zoom.
Yeah, I enjoyed that one.
That was really fun. Yeah. And it was cool to get to share. We have like a Discord. We have like an online server for all of the listeners of the podcast.
Okay.
I'm a moderator for that server, and it was really cool to get to share it with the other fans and be like, I'm a successful fan. Like, I got to interview them and like hang out with them, and everybody thought that was really neat. So those three would be my top three favorite episodes.
Okay.
The one with my grandpa, the one with Yoon Bae, and then the bonus episode with Shannon and Angelica.
Still thinking?
Well,
you don't go back and listen to the podcast.
I don't. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Terrible.
No, it's okay. A lot of people don't.
No, I would have to say the one with, and I'm gonna blank on her name, and I apologize, y'all. I'm medicated. I have really high tolerance for pain medication. It's extremely low tolerance for sinus and cold medication.
I get it.
I get a little goofy, you guys.
You might fall asleep on us.
No, I might just say some random things that don't make any sense. The travel agent that we interviewed, I learned.
Oh, Aubrey Page.
Aubrey, thank you.
Yes,
Vagabond,
she was wonderful.
Vagabond Travel. She that was a lot of fun, and I learned a lot about that industry. Through talking to her, which was really cool, because we all have like bucket list things that we want to do, and aside from saving the money for it, like knowing what to do, how to get there, what to do while you're there, and all that was always such a stressful thing. And so if we ever actually do get to go to New Zealand, I'm calling her.
Book a trip with her.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you take away all the guesswork and all the headache.
Absolutely.
And
I didn't realize
stress.
that was what all they did, what all the travel agency did, and that was like, yeah.
And I think theirs specializes in a lot more,
something.
That concierge service of I'm going to take you from step 1 to step 100.
Right.
And not have to worry.
Right. So that I really enjoyed that one. That one was fun. Learned a lot. The one where we just did the recap was fun.
That
where
one
we
was
just
fun.
I always enjoy just getting to sit and hang out with you guys. You know. Let's see. Let me think.
You should go back and re-listen to some of the
really
episodes.
should. I know.
I think that
I know.
I know that you're worried about like sounding dumb or whatever, but like
I'm worried about being too overcritical of myself and then being weird when I come back.
When I listen to him now, I pretend like it's other people.
Yeah.
And so I don't really, that criticism isn't there anymore.
Yeah.
It was in the beginning, a year ago, when I first started having to listen to them to do social media. But now it's like listening to them, I'm like, those are other people talking.
Maybe it's because of my Sagittarius nature, and I am so egocentric and like I very much enjoy praise and like hearing myself talk. Like if I could just like look in a mirror.
She's her father's daughter.
If I could just look in a mirror and see how pretty I am. No, but seriously.
Should have named you Narcissa.
Well, actually, the Sagittarius birth flower is a narcissus.
Is a narcissus.
Yeah. So no, I think our podcast is really well done, and that's not just because I edited it really well.
I'm glad. Well, hey,
y'all are good hosts.
I did find in the interview that we did with your friends Shannon and Angelica, that my involvement in this podcast is mostly self-serving.
That's okay.
And then it's just fun for me to do. I just like it,
But it's extremely important to us.
It is.
There's some things in life that should just be
very
enjoyable.
helpful.
They don't have to be work.
But the thought of a third one, the In Blue Handmade, that was cool. I really enjoyed it, and getting to put a spotlight on a business like hers that does so much good for other people around the world and everything.
I agree.
She was just fun to talk to, and like just a cool seemed like a cool chick to go sit and have
You
a beer
guys,
with
you should come with us to Wildwood if they ever get to have it again.
I would love to.
And meet her, because she really is one of those people that you can just sit by a fire, have a drink with, and just have like your old friends.
Yeah.
Like you've never not known
That's
each
what
other.
it felt like talking to her.
Yeah. She's awesome. I love her.
That was a good one too. Yeah.
So, Mom, now your favorite
My
episodes?
favorites, I like all of them for different reasons. And I know that sounds like, well, I love all my children. And, that is true. I really have enjoyed every interview we've done, because it's always like somebody has said something, even if it's just one statement in the entire hour-long interview that I'm like, oh, wow, yeah, I didn't think of it that way before, or never even would have considered that. But if I had to pick favorites, I really enjoyed the one with Abu Saeed with Wildhood Clothing.
Yeah, he's great.
His story alone about his life and his journey, being an immigrant coming from Bangladesh and then moving to Canada and working there and like not knowing anyone, just was like, I want to go to Canada. I'm going to move and change my life. And then eventually started this business and all the things that he's done. It was just like, wow, like I have no excuse to be scared in life or to be, held back by fear or, any of those things, because he just like, he literally left one culture and country and moved to a completely one where he didn't know the language or any of that stuff and had to learn it all on the fly. And it's like, wow.
It was incredible.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. That's, I mean, I'm not living up to my full potential like he did.
I still keep in contact with him.
He was a great person to talk to. He was just so humble and just, he's a business owner, but he's like, I am only successful because of the team of people I have around me.
Yeah.
Love that
he really
sentiment.
kind of he was like, I wanted to be the machine. I didn't want to be like a cog in the wheel. And that quote has stuck with me ever since then. So so he was one. I really enjoyed, obviously, the one with In Blue Handmade and Mary Lynn Schroeder. I have a personal relationship with her, so I know her, and I just love all the things that they're doing with her business and how it's grown. And she's not, knowing her personally, knowing she's not really one of those business-minded people per se. She's much more of the artistic, free love, hippy-dippy type, and that is not a slight on her. It's definitely, that's just how she is. And so the fact that she's taken her business from where it was to where it is now. Yeah. And also crediting the people that she hired, and really giving tribute to the team of people she has around her. And then the third one would probably be, I did like the one with my father-in-law, Bob. He had a lot of really good insight about a person's personality.
His was a lot of fun.
And how you run a business from that perspective. Right. Or if you shouldn't run a business because your personality just doesn't lend itself to that.
Which is a big thing that a lot of people don't think about. They just want to do it, so they try, which, I've tried to start businesses before and failed. Yeah. So. Same. So, sometimes you got to figure out.
Yeah. I think
it's a good perspective to have on it.
Yeah, it is, because I very much learned within the past several years, ever since I left my job at Standpipe, which I was at for 5 years, almost from the time I was 14 until almost I was 19. Mm-hmm. I worked at FedEx, and then I worked at, I worked for myself. I started my company, Full Moon Children, as a psychic medium. And, when the pandemic hit, I left my job at FedEx in December of 2019. Yeah. I had 3 months to work at Full Moon Children and do that full time, and it was going really well. And then the pandemic hit, and I wasn't getting any clients. And
you couldn't do anything in person.
No, I couldn't do anything in person. I didn't want to do anything in person. Money was tight for a lot of people for a long time, and so I was working for my Uncle Sam in construction, and I really learned about myself that I do best when I work with other people, but I have a lot of freedom, which is why my job at PaynePoints is so good for me now, because I'm given a lot of freedom, but I don't have to worry about, I have to be the one who brings in the paycheck. So it's good to learn, and I think that if somebody had told me, like, Megan, like, you just don't really seem like the best fit to run your own business, I wouldn't have listened. You have to make those mistakes on your own.
A lot of the times, it's one of those things.
You have to live it sometimes.
And
you
have to figure that out yourself.
His episode with, sometimes, you may have an interest in something, but you don't have to be a business owner. That was, I think, good for somebody like me.
He's the only person that we've interviewed that has had so many years running his own business. Yeah. So it was like, because almost 30 at this point. Yeah. And so he has a lot of sage advice, so I liked it for that. But if I had to pick a different one, because Megan's already picked that one, I would definitely say I really enjoyed talking to Erin Lester of Tweety Tart. Yeah. She had so much joy for the job she does. Yeah. Just so excited and so enthusiastic, and I know that's not how she is all the time. Life, is rough, and you have your downtimes, but she definitely she puts joy into every single product she makes, and she talks about it with such excitement.
Love.
Yeah, and
it's like her child.
I just loved listening to her because she was just so like, oh yeah, and it's just so exciting. And it's really motivating to hear someone talk that way about their job because sometimes we all kind of get mired down into the of it all, And she was just like, no, I go to work every day, so excited to work, and I'm just like, that's great. So I really like talking to her, and she's somebody that Megan has known for several years from the con circuit, and it was good to have.
We've
her
actually
on.
Still never met in person, which is weird.
Never met in person, but always known each other online.
Yeah.
It's such a weird time in life. Not really weird. It's been that way for about 20 years now where people can know each other online but never have met in real life.
Yeah.
Right.
I have a whole community of women that we have a message board back in the day together. We've known each other about 18 years. And most of us have not met in person.
Yeah.
And,
That's crazy.
but we all are really good friends. Like, we've all kept in contact on Facebook, and we are in each other's lives in that indirect sort of
don't actually know each
distance
other.
way. But we've never met in person.
That's really cool. That's one of the good things about, there's a lot of bad things about the internet and social media and, all that kind of stuff. But that's definitely one of the good things is that you can create a really awesome community.
Yeah.
Even from a distance.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Eventually, I'd like to get to meet Erin. I mean, she lives in Austin now, so it's not
a little
like
easier.
Not that far.
It wouldn't be impossible, especially if I went to go visit my aunt who now lives in Austin. Like, I could just be like, "Hey, girl, like, let's meet up in like a park and social distance."
Or the vaccine's here, so hopefully
wait another 6 months and then you can go
hopefully we'll
actually,
be in the line, the queue to get that soon.
Yes.
Yeah.
And granted, there's still precautions that have to be taken. I'm sure even after getting a vaccine.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah,
but at least we won't have to walk around so like
Scared.
Not scared. I don't want to necessarily say that I walk around scared, but I definitely, it's in the back of my mind
not
always.
as cautious. Yeah.
You know?
Just not. Yeah. You don't have to have that.
I do think
awareness.
going forward in life, though, masks in public during very high sick seasons is going to be my norm for me.
Yeah.
Well, so I mean, I don't know if I've touched on this in another episode, but when I went to Japan when I was 17, so that's 3.5 years now.
That long ago?
Nearly.
Wow.
Maybe 3 years, and then
just 3 years ago.
Yeah.
because we went right before I turned 18, and everybody wears face masks there, like if they have a cold or if they don't want to get a cold, or literally sometimes it's just for fashion.
Yeah, because y'all went in the middle of November.
Yeah, so it was like the height of cold and flu season.
Yeah.
And so I came back and I had like a little bit of sniffles, right? Mm-hmm. And I remember like I wore a face mask to like go work because I just had like a runny nose.
Yeah.
And everybody was like, "Are you sick? Like, are you like a cancer patient
What's
or something?"
wrong? Yeah.
And now like people look at you like, what is wrong with you if you're not wearing a mask?
Yeah.
So like the
Well,
tables
not
are
around
completely-
here, but
not around
in
here, but in other
normal
should.
places.
But yeah.
In
But
normal places.
It's just like I don't think I'll ever like quit wearing a mask.
No, I think that's going to be my
Yeah.
norm from going forward because
I haven't been sick this year.
other than allergies and sinus stuff, which is going to happen regardless of a
Right.
mask or not because of
Right.
pollen.
Or, like,
You have to
and-
breathe.
Yeah.
you have to breathe. We haven't been sick,
Yeah.
and that's just. I think that is everybody's washing their hands
Well, and
more.
the
They're using
doctors-
hand sanitizer. They're wearing masks.
I've
they're
heard that
distancing.
there's something like there's only been like 3 cases of flu in our county this year.
Wow.
Like almost
That's
none.
crazy.
Yeah, because
and the contagion rate for that's a lot less than say COVID.
Yes, but still, I mean,
That's crazy, though, that it's only 3.
It's crazy low. I mean, that was several weeks ago. I'm sure it may have gone up by then, but but like it's it's helping with other things, not just this one virus
COVID,
that we're concerned about right now. Yeah.
It should have been the norm all along. Cold and flu season is always such a hard hitter to especially our community when we have such a small amount of hospital beds and resources.
Right.
And it should be, you should be doing that sort of thing when and people going to work and going to school when they're sick. Speaks to a much larger problem in our society, and it's not not those people's fault, but the fact that they don't have childcare, they can't take time off work, things like that, things that we need to fix in our society
you don't
going
have enough
forward.
cushion in your bank account that you can miss a day of work,
Right.
Yeah.
This whole thing, so many people are still. I feel like we've come out of 2020 relatively unscathed compared to a lot of people.
We can speak from a place of privilege, I think.
Yeah, I totally understand that we've had it much easier in some respects than a majority of Americans out there who are, maybe being evicted from their homes right now because of that hold on, being evicted is now gone, and not being able to feed their kids, or they weren't able to provide Christmas for them, and those are things that we still all had, and I feel very, fortunate for that. So I'm thinking about those who had a rougher time, and how can we do better going forward in our businesses, in our personal lives,
in order to help prevent this kind of thing from happening again.
And also I think that the PaynePoints podcast, not to toot our own horn, but we're doing something very big by highlighting small businesses who have been affected. Yeah. And, I see on TikTok, when I see like a video on TikTok of like somebody being like, this is my parents' small business. We've been really affected by COVID. Could you please like and comment? I always like, comment, and share that post because it boosts it in the algorithm, because there have been a lot of people's lives who have been changed by going viral on the internet. I know that PaynePoints isn't big yet, but by continuing to do what we do and reach out not only in our own community but across America and across the world, I think that we can highlight businesses that really need it and show compassion and kindness and positivity in this very, very dark world that we're in.
We're in a really awful cycle as a society where we don't value intellectual knowledge or education. There's this sort of cult of anti-intellectualism that's sort of pervaded our society, and
people are proud of their ignorance.
Yes, and I really don't understand that. Education should be a thing we all strive for our entire lives. It's not just what you do in high school or college. It's a life journey where you're learning new things. And when you're presented with evidence and facts and figures and statistics that go against your maybe typical worldview, maybe heed those. I'm not saying it has to change your opinion per se, but actually
look into
consume it and go, oh, there's another idea here?
Stop and think about it for a minute. Maybe look at something from a different perspective. It may not change your mind, but it may help you understand other people
for sure,
and give you the ability to be more compassionate toward other people if you can kind of look at things from their point of view, from their frame of reference.
We've got a complete lack of empathy in our society too. Given this whole anti-mask thing,
it's not a complete lack. There's
a few.
We are.
Yeah, sure. It seems like a majority around here, though.
I read a quote the other day that really struck me, and it was, "There's not enough darkness in the world to snuff out the light of one small candle."
Yeah, true.
Which is very true. And so as long as there's one person out there that's willing to, share, be empathetic and share and be compassionate and do good for others, then it's not all bad.
And then also one candle can light another.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that
can also start a bonfire. So it definitely helps when you have at least a few people that believe in being empathetic and sympathetic to your fellow man, and then it maybe can be contagious.
That is one thing that there's been a lot of divisiveness and stuff, but coming out of the pandemic, and all the craziness that's been this year, if you look at all the the people cheer in New York, leaning out their windows and cheering for all the healthcare workers every night at 7:00.
That was beautiful.
There's been a lot of parades for people. You can't. Cancer patients coming home, finally, and nobody can come see them, but they all line the streets, and it was basically a parade when they were on their way home. I mean, the SGN, the Some Good News that John Krasinski started. I mean, there's little things like that, and I think that ties into what we do here at PaynePoints and on our podcast, is highlighting the little things, the small businesses, the good, the small things that help, to make. Because if you listen to just the news all the time, it's awful.
Oh yeah.
You think the world is going to hell in a handbasket.
Yeah, you got to turn it off, walk away. It's the same cycle of nonsense over and over and over again.
Right.
Here I'd like to think that in our community, there seems to be the same 5 businesses that get recognition in the newspaper and the news all over and over and over again. And well, that's all, and I have nothing against those particular businesses. I'd like to see other people. There are other businesses in this community and in the community next to us and across the country that don't get that recognition, and they should, because of what they're doing, or because it's, hey, this is a small business and maybe it's not super impressive to you, but to this person and to their family, it's made a huge difference in their life.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's those little things, definitely add up. And we, I tend to, whenever I get online, I'm looking at cute little funny cat videos or dog videos, because the rest of it is just horrible.
Yeah. Well, and when, you also have to remember that in order for something to be newsworthy, right, it has to be out of the norm.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. So all the bad stuff we see on the news is out of the norm, which is what makes it newsworthy. But if that's all you consume, all you watch, all you see all day long, then you're going to think that everything is bad. Yeah. And it's not. There's a whole lot of good out there. You just got to look for it, because
it's not, I mean, almost in a way, it is the norm.
It is, yeah. Good. The good is the norm, which means it doesn't make the news.
The last decade or so, it's just been a ratings game. It's like, let's put the most outrageous stuff on the TV and the news.
Started in the 90s with like the talk shows and the shock factor.
Well,
and
when
Jerry
CNN
Springer
24/7 news cycle, just kind of ruined it. Like it used to be when I was a kid, you got the news at like 8 in the morning and at 6 at night. Yeah. And then at 10, whatever wrap up from the day, and that was it. Yeah. And you didn't have this 24/7 stream of word salad vomit of nonsense that comes out of, most
well, then they
news
run
channels.
out of stuff to talk about.
So they just harp on the same thing over and
which
over
makes
again.
It sound worse and worse and worse.
And do y'all remember in 2016, summer 2016, for like a month, the world was at peace because of Pokemon Go?
I remember that.
Do y'all remember? Because
I remember my sister almost getting a car wreck playing that while she was driving. Almost killed me.
Do not play Pokemon Go while you drive.
Do not play while you drive.
It even says it in the app. But I remember, like, even though the game was buggy, like, that united people so much. And there's actually been a resurgence because people are only,
out
like, they're walking around outside because they can't go to other things. But yeah, no, I think that I want to loop back to something that you said, the pride and ignorance that a lot of people have.
Yeah.
I think that, I don't know if it's just in our culture as Americans or if it's like maybe just people in general, but I think that education, in a sense, like if somebody does something wrong, right? Like let's say you say something that's problematic, it's offensive to somebody, whatever. The typical action that is taken is not nurture. It's not sitting somebody down and carefully explaining, hey,
let's have a conversation.
You can't say this or do this because of X, Y, and Z. It makes other people feel bad. Yeah. It's you jerk, like you're so stupid. You're like, it's attacking. People. Yeah. And so that doesn't help because, during the Black Lives Matter movement that we saw in the summer, there was a lot of stuff coming out about like K-pop idols that I like who have said or done anti-Black or racist things. And I had to absorb that and go, okay, like that is problematic. It's problematic because it makes Black people, people of color, like it makes, it's. I had to like not swallow my shame in a way, but realize I'm not being attacked for being educated. Like somebody like Shannon and Helica, they did a trilogy of episodes about anti-Blackness and racism within the Korean pop community and culture, and they were coming at it from a place of, we want to make sure that everyone feels comfortable. We want our Black fans and our white fans and our Hispanic fans and our Asian fans, we want them to all be comfortable at the same time. Right. But this is a problem. And so they presented the facts, they told why it was wrong, and it made me feel safe and go, I'm going to do better. Not somebody yelling at me like, oh, you're doing the wrong. Like, that's never going to work. That doesn't work with children. That makes children afraid.
Don't berate people.
Exactly.
Yeah. But we've kind of lost that ability to have civil discourse in this country. It's this side and this side and the chasm in between. And, I used to be definitely much more of a moderate in the middle of the road, and they've completely just blown the middle to smithereens. It's you're either on this side or on this side, and that's that's it. And I don't like that. I don't like that we've gotten to a place in our political and our just personal lives where there's no civil discourse anymore. It's just immediately on the attack. Immediately you're an idiot, dismissive, and my stupidity is just as good as your knowledge attitude. Yeah.
We need to remember that when you find a good compromise, both parties are satisfied, but neither is happy.
Sure.
Yes.
Like that's a good compromise. Yeah. And we
don't have that anymore.
We need to remember that and like do that more often.
Yeah.
Because
how do we get to a place where we can do that?
Yeah.
Within our society, And, you know, I know when you break things down, you know, you have this big pie and then you break it down into slices. And here we have in our little community, and that's really all we can affect because that's where we're at and that's where we live. And so you do what you can in your own community, and you hope that that little bit in your community spreads to your state, and then from your state to your region, and then so on and so forth. You know, I hope and I feel like that we're going into a time of, it'll be a little chaotic probably for another couple of years.
Definitely going to be.
But hopefully we go into a time where we start seeing some serious social change that really makes an impact. Not just this lip service stuff that we've been doing over the years. Yeah. This summer really taught me that I ignored a lot of the racist stuff because it wasn't happening right in front of my face, or I was like, well, it's gotten better. You know, I make excuses because I'm white and I'm privileged and I don't have to look at that and I don't have to experience it. Yeah. But that George Floyd stuff really put it front and center right in my face and you couldn't ignore it. And it's like, awful. I haven't done as good as I could have, and I need to do better in the future. And we need to start really not just talking about it, but really making changes,
making a difference, and making.
And
a
I
change.
feel like the next few years, the social change is gonna. The Gen Zs are like, they're just killing it, and they're gonna continue to do so. Yeah. And we're just gonna have to jump on the train and help them out.
Yep.
You know?
I mean, my 12-year-old sister Ava is so well educated on problems in this country. Yeah. And she's angry about it. Like she wants to see a change.
She's frustrated.
Not just for, you know, like people like her who are, you know, girls, you know, like young girls who, you know, may or may not have reproductive rights or whatever, but like just for everybody. She sees the injustice everywhere. And I think that we have an environment here. We have our own community here that allows her to see that and recognize maybe we should just be nice to people. Like, what's the point in being angry? My 4 key words are kindness, positivity, optimism, and patience. I think that we should all strive to have those things. Patience is especially one of them because we live in the age of instant gratification.
Yeah, that's something that we really need to work on.
No, I don't think none of us. I know I'm short on it a lot of times.
Absolutely, me too. I know.
And so it's like I gotta go. Okay, wait. You know, this isn't in the before times. I didn't get everything I wanted immediately. Yeah, I had to work for it, and then it came. You know, the before times. Before 2-day Amazon shipping. You know, you had to wait a week and a half before you got
before cell phones, when you could text somebody and get a hold of them instantly, and you had to
or like instead of leaving a message on their answer machine and they call back 5 days later. You know?
And so
it's a different time.
I mean, I think that those words not only are going to apply to the way that the direction society moves in. I mean, if you look at historically how plagues have gone and then what has happened after, I mean, typically there's a renaissance of sorts, you know, once people are healthy again, and that's just the case for anything, whether it be a plague of politics or a plague of health. I think that
we've had both.
We've had both,
just all at once.
And so I think that we can move towards in everything, you know, kind of looping it back to PaynePoints because I feel like we got off track a little bit. Those 4 words that I said, kindness, positivity, optimism, and patience, we can apply those to literally everything in our lives.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Relationships, the way we interact with the public and business and our own podcast. I mean, privately, I can be frustrated sometimes when I message somebody and, you know, maybe they don't get back to me immediately and it's like kind of time sensitive. I'm allowed to be like, man, I really wish that, I mean, it's the age of the internet. Like, I know that they've seen it, whatever. We're allowed to have upset feelings. We're human. We're supposed to have those feelings. But adopting more patience and positivity and optimism, I know that that's hard given the world that we live in. But as, you know, a Zoomer, a Gen Zer, I have to have I have to find optimism in life because otherwise, where is it?
Yeah. We have to do better going forward, and we have to.
I think part of that is remembering to be patient. You know, when you're frustrated and stuff, is remembering that other people are people too.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, they're not just, you don't know what's going on in somebody else's life.
Yeah,
their dog might have died, and that's why they haven't gotten back to you because they just don't feel like it. They may have some crisis going on in their family. They may have, you know, I mean, they may have some secret addiction problem or something that nobody knows about that they're trying to deal with. I mean, you never know, you know, it may be something simple. They overslept and didn't check their email. I mean, you know, but, you know, we're all just people. We're all doing the best we can with what we got. And sometimes we have good days and we do great, and sometimes we have bad days and we don't do so.
Extending grace to ourselves and to those around us, because this 2020 was a hard year, not just because of all the external things, but I think collectively as a society and just globally, it was difficult on so many fronts,
a lot of levels.
And it seemed like this year, I watched this thing on Netflix called
Goodbye to 2020.
Goodbye to 2020, or Year in 2020, or
Farewell to 2020.
Something. It was a comedy documentary, and it was a spoof, but it was pretty real in the way they depicted it. And it was like literally they went month by month, and it was just month by month. It was like one more catastrophe after another, and it was just you were just trying to come to terms with what the one thing was, and then boom, all of a sudden there was something else to deal with, and it was just constant. And so that was across the globe. We started the year, Australia was on fire. Yeah. That entire country, that entire continent was like burning to the ground.
Yeah. January of
and that
2020.
seems so far away.
Australia was on fire. World War III almost happened.
Yeah.
And then California was on fire.
And California was on fire. And then it was like, and then those things feel like 5 years ago now.
Yeah, they do.
Because
they really do.
Of how long this year, like 2020, just felt like 10
lasted
years.
Forever.
Squished into one. All the things that happened. So we need to extend grace to ourselves and to those around us, because there was a lot of stuff that went down, and we're all having a hard time processing it.
I think if anything 2020 has taught us that is that it's we are a very adaptable species. We can handle a lot, and all of our little petty things that we on a day-to-day basis, it could be so much worse. And so I think that it shouldn't be difficult for people to extend that grace, because 2020 we've been through some stuff this year.
It wasn't a terribly hard year for me personally, other outside the normal things that happen,
right?
But the stress and the anxiety of all the things happening in the world, and then you throw in a global pandemic, and then you throw in all the political nonsense, and it was just like, okay, I think my anxiety level can't take anymore. And I know that there was a point there in November where I could have stroked out, because it was just like what's gonna happen, and obviously I have no control over those things, and I had to kind of just go, okay, you need to chill. Right. Life will go on. Right. Things will continue. It'll be fine. But I think it culminated over months and months and months and months, and finally November just came to a boiling point for me. Like all the stress I had been feeling all year long just sort of erupted, and the anger I had felt over all the different things that had been going on, just like, in November I just kind of like
checked out.
I need to just not think about things.
What is that song? Was that a John Mayer song? I can't think of it. It's Waiting for the World to Change.
Yeah, that's John Mayer.
Is that John Mayer?
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe that song is coming to fruition a little bit. Maybe the world is changing a little bit.
The universe was like, you guys need a wake-up call. Here you go.
Yeah.
I mean, there's another song that you upon mentioning a song, it made me think of it. Like BTS, biggest boy group in the world, my favorite group, whatever. This was kind of not necessarily going to be their last year, but due to circumstances, this was going to be like one of their last tours for a while.
Right.
And everybody was kind of waiting for the end of an era almost, because, like I said, circumstance. But then the tour got postponed or canceled even.
Right.
And so they, throughout like quarantine and everything, they worked on an album called B, and the title track is called Life Goes On. And the sentiment there is, no matter what happens, life goes on.
Yeah.
Like if you're still alive and still breathing, it doesn't matter how life gets you down. Like, it still goes on.
You're still goes on, and you still have a chance to make it better.
The human race has survived a lot of really awful, tragic things, and here we are, still persevering, moving on. Yep. And there's a lot of things we need to change, and there's a lot of things we need to work on and do better at.
But I think this year we have learned a lot about ourselves and about each other. And
I
think,
for sure.
I think there's a whole lot of ideas, and like you said, it's going to be chaotic for a couple of years yet, but I think there's a whole lot of ideas circulating and a whole lot of information circulating around that are going to start, sparking some change.
Yeah, shifting things.
And hopefully, my kids that are tiny right now will grow up in a world where, you know,
the world we hoped we would grow up in.
Yeah.
But hopefully for them.
Yeah. Well,
that's what you want.
Right. That's always what you want. Is you want to leave the world better, you know, than for your kids, you know, but hopefully they'll grow up in a world where, you know, racism isn't a thing, you know, or is a much more minor thing, at least.
This thought process I saw,
it's, you know,
online the other day that said, you know, we're, you know, have the older generation saying, well, you younger kids haven't had to do anything. You've had everything given to you. It's been so easy for you. And you kind of go, but wasn't that the point?
Yeah.
You want it to be a little easier for them because there's going to be whole new challenges once they get to be our age.
Right.
And so, you know, it kind of put that sort of negative mindset in a different perspective for me. Oh, you've had it so easy. That's the point. You want it to be better for the generations coming up. Yeah. And I would love it for your children who are 3 and 6 months old to grow up in a world where racism is almost gone.
Yeah.
It probably will never be completely eradicated. But it needs to be less than it is now.
Yes.
And all the, you know, fighting over gender and sexuality and all those things, like, that's like, do you stay in your lane? Stop worrying about other people. That's their business. They'll have to answer for that.
That is across the board.
Yeah, you just leave other people alone. You work on yourself, drive in your lane, do the best you can, and let other people do their thing, you know? And I feel like we've gotten so much into a place in our society where we are so concerned about other people and other things, and it's like...
But we're not concerned about them in the right way. We're not asking them, have you eaten? Have you slept well? How's your business
How's your mental health?
Like, we're asking the wrong questions.
And I think we've stopped leading by example.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
People have, you know, you want to yell at somebody or troll them on the internet or you know, whatever. But we need to remember that the best leaders are people who show you the way, not...
Yeah, and stop screaming at the retail worker who's making minimum wage, who has no power or control over the situation you're screaming about. Yeah, you know,
the best way to share kindness and to be compassionate and everything is to do it, is to show other people and to live that way. And you know, it's
kindness always wins.
Great for everybody else, but it's also great for you in the end. Like it's a when you start living that way, you become much more at peace, and you become, like, even if you're faking it at first, fake it till you make it, right? You learn. It's a
habit that you form.
Yeah, well, and you start seeing the results of that, you know, and it'll change your life. Like, just chill out, man.
I think that you have to start with yourself.
Everybody needs to take a Xanax.
You know? Yeah. Like, I think that one of the big changes...
to put it in the water system.
One of the changes that I made for myself this year was not consuming media that made me very upset. Like drama channels on YouTube.
I deleted my Facebook account this year.
Yeah.
Great. Best decision I ever made.
Yes.
I only follow people who bring me joy, who bring me happiness. Not that I don't, you know, I read books about racism and podcasts about them, and I want to learn.
Yourself, But
the thing is that I don't want to see, like, it doesn't bring me any joy to hear about drama from these 2 YouTubers.
Yeah, no, I quit.
Like that, like reality TV, it was my guilty pleasure, and now I'm like, this is just negative. Yeah. And so I've really tried to listen to, you know, to positive podcasts, to, you know, good TV shows that like are like slice of life. Like maybe there's no overarching story, but there's a lot of positivity. Like, what you consume and who you surround yourself with becomes you.
Yeah, it's like that. And Sarah's mentioned it before. When you buy a new car, you start seeing that car everywhere. You know, you may have never seen it on the road before.
And then
boom, they're everywhere, you know.
The reticular activating system, I think is what it's called.
Is that it?
I think that's the term. Somebody's going to correct me, I'm sure, in the comments.
I mean, hey, that's fine. You know, we're learning. But yeah, it's the same thing with, like, you know, what you consume in positivity and what you watch, like what Megan was talking about. You know,
then you
if you surround yourself with that, then you see that, you know. So if we can change in this era of, like, you know, immediate instant gratification and information and social media and all these things that we have at our fingertips, if we can change what we watch and what we see and what we hear and, you know, what we listen to, then it'll start changing us for the better.
It's definitely changed me.
Yeah.
Before I like vent to my friends about some stupid drama I saw on Twitter, I go, is this productive?
Nope.
And does this make me
Is
happy?
it worth the blood pressure?
Yeah.
Like it you know,
Is it really worth it?
there are some like funny things that I'll share, like, man, this is so dumb, like, you know, just banter between friends.
Yeah.
But seriously, like, if whoever's listening like has a takeaway, if all you consume is like sad music and sad TV shows or whatever,
there's
like,
always a place for those things.
there's always a place. But if it's your everyday, if it's your all the time,
then no wonder you feel like crap and you don't want to do anything.
Like, I know
and you're
depression,
depressed
we're much more adept at identifying those things now.
Yeah.
And we're much better at, you know, I feel like that the conversation about mental health is getting better.
Yes.
And it's a little bit more productive and a little more supportive. But when you have to take some action in your life. And that doesn't mean that, you know, you're depressed. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
But surrounding yourself with things that are just going to feed and seethe and steep you in that, you know,
that's just
feel your feelings, but also don't let them hold you hostage in that place.
Don't become a slave to that issue. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like this whole year has kind of taught us to slow down and take a pause and, okay, well, let's really evaluate what's important in life.
Yeah.
And, you know, consuming things that are positive, like Megan was saying, you know, to me this year, I like took a check out really. And when it comes to like, okay, I'm going to narrow my circle down to this tiny little thing.
Yeah.
And then maybe as the year goes on, I'll expand.
It's just as the older you get, the smaller your circle gets.
That's true.
The closer your circle gets too,
Yeah,
which
sure.
is not a bad thing, you know.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think there's lots of little things, like, you know, we've talked about, I've mentioned before, you know, people that sing for like 10 minutes a day, which is like 2 songs, 2-3 songs, you know, it makes your brain, it's science, makes your brain make more serotonin. If you're having relationship problems, there's a study that I read a long time ago about some sort of intimate contact with your partner, or it doesn't have to be your partner, like your kid or your whoever,
your friends,
but like hug or hold hands 20 seconds a day, right? My husband and I still do that. If we're feeling funky or we're not getting along real well, I'll go up to him and be like, 20 seconds, you know, and just hold each other for 20 seconds, you know, 20 seconds a day. You sing, you have, you know, you go outside and get some fresh air. There's so many
10 minutes
you know,
of sunshine a day.
Yeah, you know, there's so many little bitty, seemingly insignificant things that you can do that really like affect our biology. Like, it's not
get
just,
out of the chair, walk around the block.
It's not just like hippy dippy BS. It's like,
it's for real.
It's science. It's real. Like these things affect us, and that can.
And this year, I think,
help.
has taught us all, like, oh, maybe these things that we keep reading in the magazines and then the different articles and health journals are actually something we should be doing.
Yeah.
So for 2021, guys, like, what are some things that you really want to focus on that you felt like, you know, that were brought to your attention in 2020, or just as your life journey has brought you there, that you want to, you know, do better on in personal or professional world? What does that look like for you guys? What do you think?
I realized that my mental health was like the worst it had almost ever been. I think I mentioned this in our recap. 2018 was like the worst year. I call it hell year. But it was like, it was very bad this year. And so, like, my depression, my anxiety. And so probably within the past month, due to circumstance, I've been learning how to cope with it better. Once again, like, I've been watching a lot of like good TV shows. I've been trying not to distract myself, but that is something that helps people with anxiety. And I've learned how to stop a panic attack before it happens.
That's fantastic.
So I want to give that tip to people, is take ice and hold it in your hands for as long as you can, because it's basically like a version of like resetting a computer.
Yeah.
It resets your nervous system. And so anytime I felt like I was about to spiral for any reason, I could have a trigger, I could have no trigger, whatever, I go and grab ice, I hold it, and then maybe I do my face routine. I get out of it. You have to, you literally have to pick yourself up and like remove yourself from that situation. Don't worry about the big like banging in the background, guys. It's fine. It's just a train.
Switching cars.
But
changing out engines.
It's one of those things where I have to get up and walk away from a situation that's making me upset.
Yeah.
Because I can't always let myself be consumed. There are some nights to be sad and listen to sad music and cry about it.
Sometimes you just need to wallow for a minute, but just for a minute.
You just have to sometimes.
Yeah.
But
gotta get it out.
My panic attacks were getting so high all the time. I was like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I either need to get on something or I need to figure it out.
Yeah.
So I think that, you know, with the job that I have now, I'm very blessed that Michael hired me as the media producer, and I have a stable job, and I'm working towards moving out and being a big girl adult, and, you know, maybe even going to therapy this year and just working on myself in every aspect of the word, because I didn't take very good care of myself in 2020. I couldn't. There was too much trauma. Constantly
Again,
happening.
that's where the giving
Just
yourself some grace.
Being bombarded. Yeah.
So
And
just like in general, like I genuinely, when I think about like, I have to, for me, I'm gonna have to bring up my self-worth more. I got just a couple days ago, I got interviewed for the paper, and I was on the front page of the paper, like literally the whole front page, and it was like a 2-page or like a full 2-page article. It was crazy, and I was telling Dad, I was like, isn't this crazy? Like, the editor apparently really wanted me in the paper, so the reporter came, and he was like, yeah, like, you're a big deal. When are you going to realize that? And I was like, I guess I just still think of myself as Megan.
Well, you always want to have a little bit of that.
You always want to be humble, but, like, I have to...
Yeah, don't get a big head.
I have good role models in my life, whether they be close or far away, who have taught me, like, be humble, but also it's okay to recognize, like, oh, there are a lot of people who don't get interviewed by the paper. That's kind of a special thing.
Special thing, yeah.
Like, I run a podcast that is doing pretty well, and I've been interviewed for 2 different K-pop documentaries, and like, I have to work on my self-worth and realize I am an important person. I am a big deal.
You have influence.
In a way, I'm an influencer, and I want to hold that and also go, I'm Megan, and I want to be your friend, to no matter who it is, whether it's the biggest celebrity in the world or just some rando on the street, you know. So, I'm looking forward to 2021. I'm cautiously stepping into it and giving myself a lot of grace and trying to learn a lot. Here's to being 21 in 2021. Now now alcohol can help me. No, just kidding. Just kidding. I don't like alcohol. That is a real statement. I hate alcohol.
You take after your mother.
Yeah. It's not that I hate it. I just don't it doesn't give me any benefit.
Chillnack is an exception. Go listen to the episode. It's episode 125 of the PaynePoints Podcast. They make some pretty good drinks. Anyway, who wants to go next in terms of what you're going to work on and all that good jazz? I will edit that out.
Sorry. I'm going to pause for a minute.
That's fine. Time of year.
Been holding that back for a minute.
You know, I think for me, I'm getting older, and you know, they tell you when you're young, you know, pick your battles, and that really has taken that to heart. Like, there's some things that just aren't worth fighting about. With your spouse, with the people in your life, with your job.
Right.
It's just not worth the aggravation, and they are really going to town over there with that train. Sorry guys. It's not usually constant like this, but anyway. Surely there's a life lesson in all that somewhere. It means something, you know, on a deeper level. So, you know, there's that. I have tried really hard this last year because of the whole giving myself grace and those other people around me. And I didn't always succeed, and I failed at it quite more often than I succeeded. But it was choosing my words more carefully.
Yeah.
I feel like we throw things around with the things we say, and we don't really give thought to how they're going to impact not only ourselves, but the people you're saying them to.
Yeah.
And again, I failed at that a lot, but I tried to be a lot more deliberate and be very plain speaking and straightforward whenever there was a conflict in my life, or, you know, there was an issue that had come up. And I tend to have a flaw in my personality where I let things fester a little too long, and then by the time I do deal with it, I'm so angry, and the other person's just like, what?
Wait,
why are
I didn't
you upset?
know this was happening. Yeah.
So I'm trying not to let things and that's been a lifelong challenge, and I'm still not so great at it 42 years in. So, you know, that's another thing I want to get better at this year is being super deliberate in the things I say, communicating better, being very strategic in what I say, and really giving thought to those words. You know, when you're sitting around chatting with friends, it's one thing, but I'm saying when you're having a sit-down conversation, whether that be in work or with your partner.
Being able to have a discussion without it turning into an argument.
Right. It needs to, you know, needs to be very thoughtful because we're just in such a contentious time in life that it needs to not everything needs to be a fight. But also, I have that little bit of, and we're going to keep it PG, but there's the F it, you know, just like F it all. I have no F's to give. You know, there's a lot of external things that people tell you should care about. And, you know, you've got to sift through some of that. What do I actually value in life? It's maybe not the same thing this other person values. And to not really care what someone else's opinion, like not let it affect you so much. And I've actually done pretty good at that most of my life, but like really just going forward, like do you, and if it makes you happy and other people are upset about it, well, you know, oh well.
You can't always make everybody happy. You know. There's always going to be somebody, you know, and that's
it's
okay.
always a nitpick about something. You're right. You just have to do.
And a lot of times I've found that those people that nitpick everything, it's that they're so unhappy in their lives. That they're trying to find things wrong, trying to see the things that are wrong in somebody else's life so that they don't feel so alone in their unhappiness. And, you know, when it comes to talk about extending grace, when it comes to people like that, you just got to let them, let them do their thing. They'll figure it out eventually. Yeah.
Just and letting it a little more roll off your back. You know, whatever they say to you is more about them than it is about you, you know? And it's the same thing for me. When I get that way and I say things to somebody, it's more a function of me at that point than it is about what the other person has said or done per se. So, and in terms of my professional life, you know, there's a lot of irons in the fire and a lot of balls in the air and trying to juggle that.
You got a lot going on, girl.
You know, you know, and trying to put the proper triage of priority on things. You know, getting my footing under me, you know, now that the holiday's over and we're kind of getting into the, you know, nitty gritty of the new year. You know, it's okay. Let's establish these routines, guys. Let's go in and really just put the nose to the grindstone and work. But also when you're not at work, don't work. Don't think about it. Take a step away.
Be able to disconnect.
And I realize that all those things are things being said from places of privilege that some people don't even have jobs right now. So,
very true.
You know, take that with a grain of salt. I hope that, you know, and I try in my own way to help out people in our community in those areas, and it's a small, tiny little thing, but hopefully it impacts somebody's life.
And other people, you know, it's like
being open and aware to other people. For me, the mask thing is I wear the mask for you more than I do for myself. You know, and I feel like if we took that attitude to just every aspect of life. You know, I do these things to help.
You
know, my community or my family or the people around me, my friend group. Or yourself, you know, like, and just be a little bit better at being a good steward to the people around you.
Being a better citizen of the world.
We could all improve. In that area,
I like
probably.
Kristin?
Well, professionally speaking, I'm hoping this year to work on streamlining our process and building our business and getting new clients, streamlining so that we can handle a larger volume and you know, all of the marketing plan and everything that we had in place. And then, you know, then Rose showed up and threw a wrench in the works. When it comes to that, now that she's getting a little bit older, I'd like to start implementing some of that and work on building the business some and hopefully, you know, branching out into different areas so that we can enlarge our client base and enlarge our market things that we can do for people. So that professionally is just trying to, like Sarah said, nose to the grindstone, get it done.
And take little bites. One piece at a time. And personally, I this is going to sound really cliche as far as like New Year's resolutions go and stuff, but
I gotta get in shape.
No, it's not cliche. I get it.
But it's more. It's not like you know, my husband finds me attractive.
It's not the number on the scale.
I think I'm pretty cute. I'm not worried about the number on the scale or like the tag on my pants. It's capability. Like I I've realized
more endurance.
Yes, I've realized in the last 4 years I have had, 2 pregnancies, 2 babies, and like 6 surgeries. And, I knew I'd gotten out of shape, but like, y'all is bad.
Yeah.
So I want to be able to keep up with my kids. I want to be able to take them on hikes. I want to be able to run beside them as they learn to ride a bike.
I want not every joint to hurt.
Yeah, like I'm an older mom, like so I need to do this. It's it's about capability. I need to be able to at one point in my life I could squat 450 pounds and touch my toe to the wall beside my head. Like I'm not going to do that again. That's not happening. That was 20 years ago. It's not happening again. But I know that my body is capable of more than it can do right now, and I've got to get back to that so that I can keep up with my kids and be a good mom, and they can have those memories like I did whenever growing up. So yeah, that's personally that's what I've got to work on, is getting more capable.
Yeah, sounds good.
To finish it off, is there anything that y'all are like really excited about for 2021? I'll start because you over there, glass half empty. I'm really excited to continue doing the podcast and meet a lot of new people and make a lot of new friends.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not listening to this, so I can say it. But like, I've gotten really close to Shannon and Angelica over the past year, and especially in being the moderator for their server. Like, I was really nervous before we did that episode, and then we did that episode, and I was like, oh, they're just my friends.
Yeah. They're just people.
They're just my lady friends.
They're like normal people.
They're like in a way, they're like my older sisters, And so I want to build more connections like that with people. Yeah. And just, I'm very excited to see where the podcast goes. Kristin, I'm not going to say his name in case he doesn't end up coming on, but I had a YouTuber with over 1 million subscribers agree to be on the podcast.
Nice.
And so I'm just like, again, it goes back to what I was saying of like, I'm a big deal. Like this guy, like we have like maybe like 800 followers on Instagram, maybe. And this guy was just like, yeah, sure, it sounds fun. When can we do it? Like,
wait,
so
what?
I'm excited for that in 2021. I think that
that's fantastic.
There's a lot of good coming to us in 2021.
Yay.
So, what else?
I mean,
cautiously optimistic.
My life experiences have taught me not to really be too much in terms of expecting anything or having too many, have goals and things like that you need to work on, but what do I hope happens?
Expect the worst so that whenever it's not that bad, you're excited.
Well, I don't even really want to do that. I don't really expect the worst per se. I just don't have any expectation because it feels like the last 7 years
not a bad way to live
has
life.
Never really gone the way I wanted.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's been a lot of times terrible. There's been a lot of disappointments because I was so expecting certain things to happen, and I didn't like the way it made me feel in the end. So I don't even really want to have any expectations. I just want to
wing it.
Let things happen.
Yeah.
And which is, if you knew me 20 years ago, you'd be like, who are you? Who is this person talking right now? Because I was much like, let's plan it all. Let's,
Yeah.
And I'm just kind of like, I don't want to plan anything.
You're older and wiser and learning that worrying about things that you can't control does nobody any good.
Well,
all it does is
and
drive
it
you
never
crazy.
turns out the way that I think it's going to anyway.
Yeah.
So it's like, what's the point of expending the energy?
Only worry about what you have control over,
But,
which is very, very little.
To try to think in a more positive frame of mind. And I feel like for me, that is positive, not having expectations. But like Megan said, making these connections, with the people, with the small businesses, having run a small business, multiple businesses, I have a certain sort of a special place in my heart for these people and the struggle that they have gone through and the journey that they've had to take and how it's not always been sunshine and roses and happy times, and having run a business, I know that every business has ebbs and flows and difficulties, and especially the world we live in now, it's more important than ever.
Yeah.
So I love making these connections and building on, one of the people that we had on the podcast, that we were on their podcast, Danica and Charles of Danica VC Media. I really enjoyed that podcast as well. But making that connection was so random. My husband met them at this event in New York a couple years ago. We stayed in contact, and now we're kind of collaborating on different business things. And so making those kinds of connections and weaving that little tapestry of life where you involve these people and they come to you at different points and you benefit from them and they benefit from you and they elevate you. I feel like if I can hope for anything, that's the, what, building off of what Megan said, that's really kind of the only thing I can quote expect. Air quotes here. I don't want to have expectations about this year. Right. I'm going to let it happen. People, I've had to cancel my Italy trip twice now. So people are like, are you going to do it for this year? And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to wait and see, because I don't think any country really wants Americans right now, and I completely understand that. So rather than get all like, excited about something that may or may not happen, I'm going to just let the universe sort of dictate and then, plan at the last minute.
Hey, after this last year we've had, I think that sounds great. I might steal your answer. Yeah, I think that's a really good way to start it. I don't know that there's anything in particular that I'm looking forward to in 2021. I am, however, looking forward to the possibilities. Yes. Like I'm looking forward to watching
an upswing.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to I'm looking forward to watching the history. Mm-hmm. That we're living through some serious history right now, guys. Yeah. And I'm looking forward to seeing where that is going to take us, and I'm hopeful. Yeah. That we're going to start seeing some good things happen, some change, and I'm want to watch. I want to watch for that. I want to see where we go from here, because I think that there's been a lot of, there's going to be a lot of good that comes out of this, and I'm looking forward to seeing it. Yeah. So,
same. Well, guys, I hope. I think we're gonna have to wrap it up. We've been talking. We can sit here probably for another hour. Yeah, and y'all may not want to sit and listen to the ramblings and the rabbit trails, but we thought it'd be fun to just sit down and have like a conversation about our thoughts and all the things that happened last year and what we hope happens going forward. So, when this episode airs, I want you guys to comment and tell us what you hope for 2021 and what words you're using to sort of define how you live your life in this going forward in these new historic times that none of us expected we'd have to see or live through, and now we are. And so adaptability being the year of 2020, what's 2021? Perseverance? Is it hard work? What do you guys think? So we hope you enjoyed this. We'll probably continue to do these fun little bonus episodes because people seem to like them.
They seem to do well.
I enjoy doing these. They're fun.
Yeah, these are fun. I mean, it's nice talking to business owners, but sometimes it's good to just, talk current events too. Yeah. And, what normal podcasters do, whereas just talk about random things.
I do enjoy our interviews because it's good motivation.
Yes.
It's good.
That's good motivation.
It's good motivation, yeah.
But sometimes you just need to sit and chat about what's on your mind. Yeah. So hope that's what we did today, and we had a great time, and we love that you guys joined us. And yes, please leave in the comments of wherever you're listening to this what you want to see in 2021, and let's all build a better world going forward. So
thanks, guys.
We'll see you next time.
Have a great week.
Do you have a story to tell? We want to hear it. If you'd like to be a guest on our podcast and share your story, contact us on our website at PaynePoints.com or any of the social media linked on our website. Be sure to subscribe and follow us on either Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube. We'd appreciate a review, a like, or a comment to let us know what you think. You can find all of our podcasts linked on our website under the podcast tab. Once again, thanks for joining us, and we want to wish everybody a wonderful day.
Train the entire time.
God, that was ridiculous. An entire hour almost. I think we got the first 10 minutes without all that drama.
It would help if we had better soundproofing.